One of the best ways to poison your brain, to make it toxic, not work very well, to basically punch little holes in it, is to mess up your sleep architecture. I'm Dr. Jenny Fankian. I'm a naturopathic physician, primary care doctor in the state of Oregon, and I have had my own struggles with sleep, and I have worked with many patients with sleep issues. And there's one thing that we all have in common when we start not sleeping well, it's that our brain doesn't work very well. I remember when my first kid didn't sleep for like 3 years, and I walked around feeling like it was like, I felt like I had a log instead of a head. You know, it's like I called it log brain, and I was completely in a fog. It was very hard for me to make great decisions. And my husband and I would sort of make a joke about having just like, oh yeah, I've got log brain today. I know a lot of you have kids and you totally know what I'm talking about. Again, I hit this again when I hit perimenopause and menopause, and again, my sleep started to change, which it does as we age. We go through different stages in our life, and sleep affects us in different ways. Today, I wanted to just go through really quickly some of the sleep stages that we go through and how what we've discovered in some of the latest scientific discoveries about the brain and how not getting sleep is super toxic for the brain, and which kind of sleep and when you need that sleep the most to be able to reduce your risk of illness. Now, what I'm talking about here is that people who do not get enough sleep or the wrong kind of sleep at the wrong time increase their risk for Alzheimer's. They have more chronic disease. They're unable to heal from their chronic infections. So if you have a chronic illness, autoimmune condition, chronic fatigue, long COVID, something like that, it is so much harder, as you know, to feel better if you're not able to sleep. They also see a high increase of cardiovascular diseases from having not enough sleep. Now, why is this? Because when we don't sleep enough or we don't get the right kind of sleep, it increases our inflammation. And when we have increased inflammation, chronic disease happens. It just does. Cancer, heart disease, autoimmune conditions, all of this stuff becomes a vicious cycle in the body, which is so much of why I'm here, because I want you to have the tools and the know-how so that you can understand why it's important to do some of the most basic things, like go to bed at the right time for you and make sure that you prioritize your sleep so that you're having enough energy and focus to do you in the day, okay? So there are different stages of sleep, and many of us have all been taught like, oh, you need to have 8 hours. The truth is that there is some individuality there. Some people I know need 10 hours. Other people do great on 7. There are studies showing that if you get less than 7 hours of sleep a night, you get an increase of inflammation of interleukin 6. But there's really a thing called sleep architecture. And our sleep architecture is made up of which stages we go through, how long we're in each stage, and what happens during those stages. And your sleep architecture, if it's healthy and it's good and it works for you, then you have a really healthy brain. But if your sleep architecture is messed up, you may miss some really critical pieces in here. And there's one stage in particular that's very important for the brain. So let's go through the stages. So stage 1 is when you're just dozing and you're just falling lightly to sleep and you're still kind of can hear things. That one lasts like 1 to 5 minutes. Really easy to rouse back up out of sleep if you're just dozing. I know sometimes my husband, I go to sleep before him and he'll walk in and I'm in that dozing sleep, and it's kind of hard if I hear a clunk of the glass on the table next to me and I'm like, oh no, I'm waking up again. Stage 2 is where you go, your body starts to relax, your heartbeat slows down, your body temperature drops, kind of like deeper sleep. This cycle can be 10 to 60 minutes. It gets longer the longer you're asleep. So the further into the night, this cycle is much longer. The next stage is stage 3. And this one is called delta or slow wave. It has a couple of different names. And this one is a 20 to 40 minute cycle. And then the fourth stage is what we all know as REM, which is rapid eye movement. And this is basically dreaming. And so at this state, we have, this state can last 10 to 60 minutes. And again, they tend to be longer as we go through sleep. These change as we go through, as we age. Babies are in REM sleep like 50% of the time. If you watch a baby sleeping, their eyes, you can see them moving around. As we age, these stages become a little bit shorter. But we still need them, which is really important that we cultivate proper sleep protocols so that we can get the best sleep possible for our bodies and our brain. What I really wanted to talk about today is the stage that is so important for brain stuff. And there are 3 really important things that happen in the stage for the brain. That is in this stage 3 and a little bit of stage 4, this delta stage, this slow wave stage. Now, this is the stage that that just keeps your body from going into this highly inflamed state. When we're in delta state, when we're in that state, we are our brain does this really cool thing where it gets rid of toxins. There's this lymphatic system in our brain that they call the glymphatic, because there are glial cells in the brain, so they call it the glymphatic system. And basically it is, when we're in that delta sleep, it is like the garbage trucks that come in at the nighttime and they do a beautiful sweep. It's even more than that. It's the garbage trucks and it's the street sweepers, and they are just getting rid of all of the toxins and the garbage in your brain and literally doing this huge sweep of toxic dump. Very, very important for our brains to get rid of that, because what we are finding out is that when people have things like Alzheimer's and they have plaques in their brain, there's a lot of toxic junk in there. There's viruses, there are chemicals, there are metals, all this kind of stuff is clumped into our brain. We really want to have this immune wash at nighttime, but you got to get into that delta sleep. And the more you have of that, the better it is for you. The other thing that happens in this delta stage is a thing that I absolutely love and think is super cool, is our growth hormone is increased. Now, of course, us adults aren't growing anymore, but what happens with the growth hormone for us is it does allow our tissues to heal. So if you're dealing with an injury, if you've got some sort of illness or you're inflamed, this is when your body, when you're sleeping in this stage, your body is doing this amazing work at healing your body. The third thing that's going on in this N3 stage, and also some in the REM, is this is when we do our integration of all the information that we're processing. So if you're processing some really hard conversation that you just had with a loved one, you may have dreams during your REM state that's actually helping you process these emotions. If you read some fascinating study or some book, or you learned how to do a new macrame or something, then your body is integrating that information when you are in stage 3 in the delta stage. This is very important for us to be able to heal and grow emotionally, and for us to heal and grow intellectually and continue our learning as we age. And so these are super important. There's also what they talk about insight that happens in that delta stage as well. Now, there's some really cool strategies of how it is that you can shift your sleep so that you can be sure to get all of these stages. Most people go through like 6 to 7 of these different stages throughout the night. And in that process, if you're able to do that, then you can wake up in the morning and feel really, really well rested. Some of the mistakes it's easy to make with this, one is that it's almost like a cultural thing. There's sort of this badge of honor around being able to stay up late and to not need as much sleep and to power through and get things done. It is such a mistake. It is such a mistake. I don't care if you are like super healthy or if you're healing from some kind of chronic illness. Either way, it is not a badge of honor to keep pushing yourself beyond where you should be pushing yourself. The badge of honor is honoring this body, honoring this brain, and putting yourself to bed and sleeping when you need to sleep. That is the badge of honor, and we really need to change this culturally, because we are poisoning our brains and we're making ourselves sick by some of our behaviors, and some of these behaviors are cultural, and we need to shift it together. So one of the big mistakes is not going to bed at the right time. short-tailing your sleep over and over and over and over again and not prioritizing it. That is the number one huge mistake that people make with this. The second is thinking that, oh, if I was in bed for 8 hours, that's good enough. It may be that you're not getting enough of this deep sleep. You may need a sleep study. You may need to be sure you don't have sleep apnea. You may need to be sure that your sleep environment is set up so that your brain actually can go through all of these different stages. And so it's really important to actually pay some attention to your sleep architecture and the quality of your sleep and not just focus on the time. The third mistake that I see people making is that they may have bad sleep and they just don't address the root problem. There are many causes that lead people to have poor sleep quality and poor sleep architecture. It could be a chronic gastrointestinal problem, like having GERD or gut infections. It could be having an altered circadian rhythm. It could be too much stress and having your cortisol levels be altered. It could be a chronic infection. It can be underlying emotional stress. There's so many reasons why it makes it really hard for us to get the proper sleep. And yet we just kind of keep pushing through, you know? We kind of keep thinking, oh, I'm kind of making it. I seem to be okay. I know I'm having a hard time, but maybe it's just because I'm, just a little bit sad, or maybe it'll get better. I'll catch up this weekend. And it's like, no. If your sleep isn't good, if your sleep is not good, honey, you need to take care of your sleep. You need to focus on this. This is you. This is your body. This is your brain. This is your future in this body. We get this one time to be in this being. So we need to learn how to take care of it. So please, please, please don't make these mistakes. If your sleep is not awesome, work on it. Make sure that you spend some time with this. All right, this is Dr. Jenny Defankian reminding you that you have so much power and control over your health. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know more of how it is that you can benefit your sleep, then go ahead and join me. I would love to see you in the Itty Bitty Help You Sleep Better workshop that I'm doing. It is a short amount of time for a little bit amount of money to have huge benefits on your health, and you can work on your sleep architecture. You can learn the natural supplements, the things that you can do, the things that you can take so that you can create your own individualized plan to help you sleep better and feel better and heal better. Again, have a great day. Dr. Jenny Defankian reminding you to love, and I'll see you on the other side.